Greetings, one and all. Welcome to NHL Ideas, the show where I discuss certain ideas that could be implemented within the NHL or the hockey world as a whole. Today's topic is removing the salary cap. Should the NHL go back to the quote-unquote good old days and remove the required salary cap that each team needs to hit? That is the big question of today's NHL Ideas episode. Now, I'm going to start off by saying I personally am a fan of the salary cap. I think it's a good idea to keep the league set to a certain amount of money so GMs really show their worth by putting together a Stanley Cup winning roster with the limited amount, be it large, the limited amount of money that they have to play with. I think it's a brilliant idea. I personally think it does keep it more competitive, although there may be stats and statistics to potentially argue otherwise. But I like the fact with the salary cap, general managers of teams are really earning their paychecks. This is why they're getting paid those millions of dollars like those players are. The players are paid to play the game. The GMs are paid to get the right players to win the Stanley Cup. It makes perfect sense. If you take away the salary cap, in my opinion, the GMs lose a lot of worth because they can just go after whoever they want. They could just end up getting all the best players, and it's like, oh, well, I'm brilliant, aren't I? Sure, you need to have talent to put in some really star players. You need to have some good persuasive skills. But at the same time, with a salary cap, you're having to find people that fit the system, fit the roles perfectly. Now, with the idea of removing the salary cap, it would also entail the fact that players could go to whichever team they wanted for as much money as they wanted. So there'd be no issue of a player wanting more money than the cap space can allow for a certain team, and it gives players more freedom within the league. So if there's a player that's wanting to go to a team that's only got $2 million of salary cap left, and they want $5 million a year on the salary cap, if you take away the salary cap, they can get as much bloody money as they want. You could sign the Jonathan Toews or the Patrick Kane or the Sidney Crosby or the Anze Kopitar to $20 million a year if you wanted to, because that's the salary cap. If there is no salary cap, then you could do that. That roughly those guys are currently earning about $10 million a season, roughly. So if they want double and you have the money within an original 6 teams such as Chicago, if you have that money and you can go, all right, we'll give you the money then. Sure, we think you're a valuable asset to the team. You're our captain. You're our star scorer. You're the best player in the world technically at the moment in Sidney Crosby. Sure, have $20 million a year. You deserve it, mate. So that could be a case that could happen. Now, it may make the overall competitiveness, if that is a word, of the league lower, as many talented players may want to sign with one organisation, and newer or unproven organisations may only be left with the scraps. The best and the worst teams around will be a lot clearer, I think. I personally think this is the case with removing the salary cap. There might be people to argue differently. That's the whole point of these NHL Ideas videos. So I think, for example, if you get rid of the salary cap and you say, right, players, you can sign wherever the hell you want. Enjoy. If you go, right, so we've figured that 98% of the players want to play for original 6 teams, or there are 3 players that want to sign with one of the newer franchises like Las Vegas if there wasn't an expansion draft, which there is. So if they did do that, then quite a lot of these teams like Columbus or Winnipeg or Arizona would be like, oh, we don't have anybody that wants to play for us because, one, we're a new franchise that hasn't really done very much recently, or 2, we're not playing very well, and we haven't played very well in the last few years. Or they could be like Florida, and people just don't turn up to watch them. Why would you want to go and play in an arena where people don't turn up? Hey, Florida! Anyway, so, however, even though the overall competitiveness, quote-unquote, of the league may lower with the removal of the salary cap, there would be more chance of a dynasty emerging in an era where the cup is won by a different team every year. There has not been a consecutive Stanley Cup winning team since Detroit last did it about 15 years ago, roughly, or something like that. It's been a while, you know. Every other year since then, a different team has won it. Sure, Chicago have won it 3 in 6 years or something like that. Yeah, that's considered a modern-day dynasty to win 3 cups in 6 years. I think they're a dynasty. I really do. I think Chicago have been a brilliant dynasty. Quenneville and Bowman, they've done a fantastic job with that franchise. But what about the dynasties that win like 4 Stanley Cups in a row? Whatever happened to those dynasties? Some people might be going, oh, I remember the good old days when the 1980s New York Islanders won so many cups, or the 1950s or 60s Montreal Canadiens who won loads of cups. They want to go back to that time. This may be a case of the older generation of hockey versus the newer generation of hockey? Would more older fans want to get rid of the salary cap to remember the good old days with the Gretzkys and the Messiers? And would the newer fans think, nah, I quite like the salary cap, this is what I'm used to, I quite like the structure of it. I personally like the structure of it, so maybe I fit in the latter category, you know. But I think it's a very interesting topic to remove the salary cap. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, because otherwise players that don't go with these smaller franchises, those franchises will just end up being bankrupt or having to fold or having to relocate. So that will cause a lot of logistical issues. So the salary cap at the moment seems to make the most sense. It seems to be what's working, and I think it's working as well. But I'd like to know what you guys think. So yes, please do feel free to leave in the comments below what you think about this. Should the salary cap remain in the league? That's what I want to know, guys. But yes, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, or watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.